get back. And Jay and Holland are going to come in about 5 minutes. Or not. Or they're going to be like me tonight and be on their bikes till 1 a.m.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And by the way, there's like boats coming by. Like it's really dark. But
where are you?
Southwest Florida.
South. Okay. Nice.
Are we being recorded? I'll tell you exactly where I am, but I don't.
I've got all the recorders going now, video and that. And if he really needs to know, we can tell him after the show. Or
I was just curious.
If he really needs to know.
We're quarantined, though, so you don't have to worry about him stopping by for a month or two. So.
My sister-in-law lives on a sailboat. She could just come by.
Yeah, freeze on by. A lot of people do.
No.
Fishermen and stalkers and all that.
Oh, God. Good Lord.
Will knows that's not even a joke. I wish it was a joke.
Are they fishermen stalkers? Or like, is it the same person?
I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they use our snook light and they just hang out right there.
They
Catch
come
anything
by-
you like.
They come by in their trawler.
Yeah.
This
Oh, yeah.
Giant fishing trawler just hanging out.
And then you hear the dolphins like breathing. You hear the dolphins gasping for breath. It's so amazing. I might have to if I hear them, I might have to let you listen because
That's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I grew up surfing. I grew up in Virginia Beach and Nags Head and porpoise all over the place. And yeah, I could handle seeing some of that. That'd be neat.
You grew up in a cool spot, but you just can't get that damn shipping right.
I think it should. No, not at all. It's that, and between that and accounting. Yeah, I'm not an accountant, nor do I want to be, nor do I want to play one on TV. Like, don't want to be anywhere near it.
Okay.
Well, let's
Kick it
go
off,
ahead
John.
and say let's go ahead and kick this off. We'll have some of this pre-show on there. I don't know how much, but we hinted at it, I believe, in the Adam Martin episode, and those that listened kind of made the announcement that Will had a big announcement coming up, and we would have Courtney Hansen on the show to kind of explain Will's big announcement. She's part of it. So we won't get into too much. I'm going to keep my intro short. We'll say hi to Will and Courtney, and
Hey.
I'm going to turn it up. We'll get the big thing. Should we get the big thing out of the way, or should we chat just a little bit and then go to the big thing? We should probably, in the whole scheme of this, to keep a listener in for 15 minutes for podcast ratings and listens, we should probably wait a minute or two.
Yes. Good idea.
We're gonna stealth it.
Big news. We need a drum roll. So
Well, what I told the guys before the show is we've been doing this for a while, and I've taken it a little bit more professionally. So I've started to do a little pre-research on the guests. You disappeared in 2014, 2015 from the internet, it seems. And, there's a lot of interviews from you from 14, 15, even your Wikipedia ends at about 15. Now, for some reason I see you on the periphery every now and then. What have you done? We know, the overhaul, and we know the power block and that. After that,
And the book and there's all kinds
it brings us to, it'll lead into what you and Will are doing, but what are the last 4 years like before you? Because you've kind of, as some of my friends would say, become smart and moved to the correct side of the cameras and started a little bit of production in that. Is that not right? Or
yeah, I'm still on the other side too, but I just realized that at a certain point I'm not going to be able to. There's not the same kind of longevity, and so I wanted to get into producing, and I have many ideas, but my favorite of them over the past few years has been the ride that got away. And so I created it and raised the money to produce it, and was able to execute it. It took a few years to pull all that together, but was able to execute it. And the show aired last year, and it received great ratings. Well, very good, stellar ratings and reviews, and we had a blast doing it. And we've made a lot of changes for the better for season 2. And we're not shooting on the West Coast anymore in California. We're now on the East Coast, and we'll save the other news for later. But so it was a big job to get that underway. And that's why you maybe didn't see me as much. And I also have a 5-year-old daughter.
You're gonna say, and you became a mom.
Yeah, so becoming a mom's a big thing, and it's kind of that the production thing came up in conversation around the house this week because my fiance is ecstatic that Crossing Jordan's on Prime for like a week.
You also got married.
I also got married. So we got married in Italy. We've been together for many years, but we finally tied the knot. We had the time in our schedules to do it. And so life has been full, but getting the ride that got away off the ground was a big undertaking. And I'm really pleased with the success of it, and I can't wait for season 2. And so that's been a lot, you know, just juggling that and my daughter Holland and Jay. That's a big job in itself.
I think all our better halves would say the same about us. Is that I know I'm a handful.
We're just children. We're children in aging and wrinkling bodies. Basically, that's all we are.
I have 2 of them, and maybe more in the future. I don't know. But so yeah, life has been full and exciting, and I'm really looking forward to what's ahead.
I forgot what my follow-up question was.
Do you want me to step in and take her back a little bit, or do you keep going down the lines you're going down, John? Because I have racetrack questions.
Oh, you do?
And childhood questions. Yes.
Sean's been a racer since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, as some of us say.
I'm pretty sure I had a go-kart in the womb.
You might have actually beat him though, because I think the racetrack came into your life about the same time you might have actually been, but conceived.
I started racing the year you were born.
What?
Yeah, it's been a day or two. But yeah, growing up in the house that you grew up in, with Mr. 20 plus SCCA championships and taking
27.
on, I know it's crazy. That's an insane amount of championships. And growing up at the track with your dad and in the family, was it always cars and racing all the time, from literally like the time you first have memories? Or
you know what it was? It was like fun all the time. We had
perfect.
So much fun. We were always like, it was not just race cars or racing. It was boats and go-karts and motorcycles and mopeds and 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers. And like,
yay.
My house was the one to be at, period, end of story.
I can totally relate. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's the way to grow up, and it was a dream come true. And we would always be in our family motorhome, driving from racetrack to racetrack. And then when we would get to the destination, it was like open the garage, and there was every toy imaginable. And so, you know, we all have like, you know, the love for cars running through our veins. And so yeah, that's been a part of my life since the day I was born, but not in a way that was serious, not in a way that, like, my dad's not like he was serious about racing, but he's not like a serious guy. We had fun. And so I have only the best memories of my childhood. And I think that's why I just wanted to carry on this love of cars and
awesome.
Keep doing things in the automotive arena.
I'm assuming that upbringing around motorsports and, you know, that I want to say the men in motorsports and being surrounded by them, and that it just kind of was natural. It never seemed odd for you when you finally stepped in and, you know, went to, you know, Overhauling was your, I guess, big break show or your first foray into big TV, and becoming, as I think one of the late night talk shows joked with you about, is being a mechanic. And so it just was natural for you. There was none of that, I think, apprehension that a lot of, I want to say some of the women that get into the TV I guess you believe that's true, or?
You had the background to back it up, basically. That's
yeah.
Cool,
I mean, like, right off the bat, I would say that there were some people, like, there was the naysayers and the chauvinists and the people who, but it was short lived. As soon as they did a little research or figured out that I come from that world and that I had been immersed in everything automotive since the day I was born, I think they quickly learned that, I mean, I don't pretend to know even like a fraction of everything there is to know, but I know that I love cars and I grew up with them, and I do have some knowledge, and I've just had a blast, like driving cars and being around them and watching the mechanics and my dad in the garage, and the fabricators, and then along the way working with people like Chip Poose and Troy Trepanier and many of the greatest. And so how does it tie back to your question? Tell me your question one more time, John.
Well, you're getting right there is that it wasn't odd. It wasn't a different dynamic you had to learn. You just, you grew up around it. So it was just kind of natural, except we started to film it and put it on TV. Or
and I think, again, like, yes. And so at the start, some people were naysayers, and they maybe didn't believe that a woman, but it's just so chauvinistic. It's so like 1800s. I'm glad we quickly steered away from that.
Yeah, in our house, my wife works in the vehicle repair side of the automotive industry, and she has for 20 plus years. And we see the same thing. It's literally, she goes into a shop and they're like, oh my God. And as soon as she starts talking, they realize, oh, she knows more than we do. and it's amazing. And I don't understand, because I have known Natasha for more than half my life, basically. And I've been around so many women in the automotive realm that it's never dawned on, or it's never been in my vocabulary to go like, well, why are you here? It's literally like, if you can point at a 67 Camaro and go, hey, that's a 67 Camaro, and you know what you're talking about. You just like, it's why I don't understand the treating either gender differently in that realm. And I know it's a thing, but I've never gotten it.
I think it's just because it was always a man's, it was like the way that men escaped. They went to the garage to have their outlet away from women and family. And so it was a stereotype that lived on for a very long time. And I'm happy that women have, over the last many decades been penetrating that. And I think it's really cool that more and more women care about cars and what they're driving, and they're working on cars and designing them, and taking jobs in all facets of the automotive
getting
world.
involved in the technical side. And when I was with SRT, one of the transmission calibration specialists with SRT was a young lady who she'd gotten an internship. And she was only supposed to be there for 6 months, and ended up being with SRT for several years. And she's like responsible for calibrating the ZF 8-speeds in all of the SRT vehicles from 2014 to 2017 or something like that. And you go to Chelsea Proving Grounds for events, and she's there and answering all your questions about latency and shifts, and how the throttle's cutting in and out for downshifts and upshifts, and what she's doing with it's just
that's how it should
do
be.
it if you love it. It totally should be. It's really cool stuff.
I think now, though, men, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like men find it to be sexy and very and they're supportive of women in the automotive space. I
married one.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm literally and the crazy thing is, she was my boss.
Really? Wow. Now that's a confident man. I love it.
She was my boss. And
something else you see is women actually owning companies in this industry, which is pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure it's a lady that owns Magnuson Superchargers now.
Yeah.
And then let's see, there's Carmen from AM Hot Rod Glass. She builds glass for hot rods and Bonneville cars, and I think it's pretty awesome seeing that. And Courtney, you've got to be one of the kind of the pioneers for that. And I think John's got a question that may even be your predecessor to this. I don't know. We'll let John ask this question and see.
I'm not sure what the question.
All right. Well, I'll ask it
because
for
I have a question, and I might be stuck on that question or a statement. So go ahead. You ask my question.
All right. So the first event that was held at your dad's drag strip, Brainerd, the winner.
Not the first.
Okay. The first national event.
I know the question now.
All right. Well, you asked
this. I came up in the back in 1983, I believe it was, the inaugural Quaker State North Star NHRA Nationals was held, and Shirley Muldowney was one of the 3 winners that year. You were young at the time. We won't,
I remember it.
get on YouTube, or excuse me, Wikipedia, and you can do the math. But did that have an impact on you? Was it neat to see? She was a pioneer, obviously, in racing. Her and Lynn St. James and things like that, women like that. But was that an impact? Does that a very memorable event for you? Or?
For sure, 100%. And I remember that race. I remember that time very well. And I was totally inspired by Shirley Muldowney and the other female racers. And then she had a really bad crash. And I remember that too. And everybody just being so supportive and concerned, and people donating money. And we had these like buckets and you could just put money to like give towards her medical bills and everything. But I was very inspired by her. And so I think all of the pioneers in every form of or every facet of the automotive space are incredible. And I always say, if I can even inspire one person, one young person or one woman or anybody, that makes me incredibly happy. And so just to be a part of that like movement, if you will, or just being a part of inspiring people means a lot.
No, you've obviously made that happen.
It's one of the things the podcast has been about. One of our earliest, and might have been our first guest. She's a local autocrosser, runs nationals, and was a 2 or 3 time consecutive champion. While she was studying to become get her doctorate in veterinary science, she's a veterinarian now. She does these national autocrosses, and now she's training to do an event in the Olympics. She tried out for the 2022 Olympics, and now it's whatever. I think, or 2021. She's busier than I can even think of being busy, and I support it. And it's one of those things we've really we try to portray is that, this hobby shouldn't be sexist, and that I even listened to a podcast called Femcanic Garage, and it's a female a female who does the podcast, and she interviews female shop owners and influential women that, just the small little shops, that we never hear of these people, and trying to get it out there. So, I'm very supportive of, what you've done. And, yes, you're a very attractive woman, but, attractive women laid on the mini trucks that I looked at in my trucking magazines and always blocked the detail I wanted to see. You're one of the first that portrayed herself as, like you said, you knew a lot, but you admit when you don't know it. And it really, I've always had a lot of respect for you in the industry for that. And, the television world, and, just anything, like I say, you're fairly honest about everything, and, you are knowledgeable, or you're kind of like me. You know a lot about everything.
I'm always learning. I'm always learning, and I always want to learn. And when I was working on Overhauling with Chip Foose and all of those amazing people, I was constantly just like a sponge, soaking up whatever they could teach me or show me. And there were so many hours beyond what anybody ever saw on TV. We basically lived on set, and it was amazing to be able to learn from some of the greatest.
Did you get in there with a hammer and a dolly and
totally.
go after it? That's awesome.
With everything, I did cool. Everything on the cars. The only thing I never really tackled was wiring, but outside of that, I did as much as I could do, and again, always wanted to learn. And I think it's important to always be curious and to just constantly be like gaining knowledge so, but thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
There's a funny scene in season 1 of The Ride That Got Away, and I can't remember which car it was, but it smelled horrendous.
The Mustang.
All right, it was the Mustang. Dude, Courtney's in there.
Milk under the carpet? What was it?
Dude, she's giving her hell. She's right in the middle of it, ripping the carpet up, and I'm
bad.
like,
it was so bad.
Girl, get it,
Did you have a hazmat suit?
So bad. I should have. No, I was actually wearing leather pants because we had come from, I would go out and do these interviews, and then I'd come back to the garage and work on the cars. And so I just come back from an interview, and I had been wearing black leather pants, and I just put a tank top on and dove in, and I didn't know the car was going to be that bad. And as Will was saying, it was absolutely disgusting. It smelled like rotten cheese, like sour milk,
That's milk
baking
under
in
the
the desert
carpet.
for 100 years. I was
If
like,
milk gets
oh
under the carpet, it's
my God.
done.
Ooh,
Done
it was
forever.
brutal.
Yeah.
We were holding our breath, and then as you would rip out the carpeting or rip out the interior, dust is flying in your face, and you're just inhaling all of this. I mean, it was toxic. But
So
you know
you're
what?
literally, because of that, you're immune to what's going on right now. You realize that.
I probably got
perfect.
coronavirus from that car.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, I got it over with.
You had COVID 24. Like you're
Totally.
You're totally fine.
That's part of the deal, you know. We're like taking these cars that are, in many cases, well, we go after the original car, but when we can't find it, we get the same year, make, and model. And so we find these cars in barns or junkyards or wherever, and they're often in really bad shape. And so that car had not been cared for in many, many years, decades. And apparently the owner had some really crazy stories. Like she had been through a lot. And so I think who knows? I think she was living out of the car, and she definitely neglected it. But yeah, Will, that's part of it. We just dive in there and take care of it, and then we make it beautiful.
That's right.
Are we far enough in to
what I
go
was
into
gonna-
the whole Will?
Well, we're going to. I'm going to lead into that, Sean. But this came up, and Will was very quiet about what was happening in this show. And then on the topic list one day, I put on our Trello board, let's talk about the one that got away. And the question was, what are you talking about? And well, let's figure out the one car in our lives that we wanted. We didn't necessarily have to own, but the one car that got away.
What was yours, John?
The one that I stick out the most and remember the most would have been the first pickup I ever wanted to buy. And this would have been my second car. And it was an 84 Isuzu Pup. My dad and I went and looked at it.
Courtney,
I really wanted it.
Courtney, John's a little weird.
Yes.
All right.
You can literally go with anything. The sky was the limit. You could.
Yeah.
I wanted a Bugatti EB110, but John goes with an 84 Isuzu Pup.
But that's exactly it, though. It was supposed to be my first truck, and when we went to buy it, it literally was driving off the lot because somebody had beat us there by a couple hours. After my dad had decided, we'll go ahead and let him trade his car, or I'll go ahead and buy him this because he's crashed this car too many times. So, yeah, as crazy as it is, that is it. And for those that follow me on Facebook, it's the car I always put down as the car I've never owned. There's 9 that I own, and that's.
I love it. I love it.
An 84 Isuzu
And
Pup.
you know what? I always say, like, every single car is special in its own way, and every car is appreciated they're like people. There's something for everyone. And I love that these unique cars like that, John, are appreciated. And so, like, I never bag on any, like, even if it's the wackiest car, or the worst paint job, or the worst, like, Will, do you feel that way too? That, like, you can appreciate people's passion? And
there's something on every car that has ever been made that I can find that I like.
Yeah.
Something about it.
Yeah.
I may not like the whole picture. It may be, a knob on the dash. I will find something that I dig on every car that's ever been made.
I love it.
Even on I can even find something to like on a stanced car, and that's not easy. It's not easy, but yeah, I can do it.
Did you just go there with the word stance?
Yeah, Sean, it's been nice having Sean on the podcast.
Yeah.
Sean.
Wow.
Sean, don't go there with the word resto-mod.
Can I go? Woo! I won't go there with Restomod, and I want a Pro Touring car. So Will's my guy. So,
well,
the car that got away from me is the car that I want to take to Will and get him to turn into a Pro Touring.
What's that? Which one?
70 GTX.
Oh, I love that car so much. I actually
literally
love the 69 the best, but there's subtle.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up with a 69 Camaro. Was my first car. But we looked at a 70 GTX like 2 weeks before and went back to buy it, and kind of the same thing as John's Isuzu Pup. It was there, and we went back to get it, and it was gone. And it was a 440 car. It was sublime. It was a 4-speed. It was
for some reason she's more emotional about your GTX than
I wonder why.
I love that car.
Yeah, there's
One
some,
of my
and
favorites.
I came to Mopar later in life. Like the whole SRT thing didn't happen for me until 2011, when I got involved with that brand. And I was almost a Mopar guy from the time I was 13 years old, and I would have been like, I would have, but do you have, this is a good segue. Do you have any brand loyalty, or are you literally like, I just love, yeah, me too.
I always say I do not discriminate when it comes to American classics. I don't discriminate. I love them all. Like I have some people say, what's your favorite car? It really depends on the mood. It depends on the moment. It depends where we're going. It depends on the year. Like my 57 Thunderbird has my heart. And it's not a powerful car, although I've debated putting a Coyote or something under the hood.
God bless you.
I was going to ask you about that car.
Oh,
You showed that on CarCast back in 2012 or something with Corolla and DeAndrea, and Adam said for you not to paint that car.
Yeah.
And that's a question that Derek, who's very big into preservation, would love to know the answer to. I think, did you ever repaint it, or is it still in that patinaed?
It's all original, and it's sat in an old lady's old lady. There she is.
I see a helmet.
I hear a bike bell. Come say hi really fast, baby. It sat in someone's garage for 50 years, and then when I got a hold of it, and it was my ultimate dream classic. And one night I was just surfing online, and I'm like, you know what? I work really hard, and I want to buy my dream classic car. And so I ended up say hi to the guys, Holland.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, Holland, what's your favorite car? What's your favorite car? She's a car girl.
She loves 1984 Suzuki Pumps.
Let me guess. Is it the Charger or the Maserati?
Charger.
Or is
Hellcat?
it
Good girl.
Hellcat?
Yeah, Hellcat.
I want to do something.
No, Holland, you can't.
I really don't.
No, you can't, baby.
No,
Baby,
I'm gonna do a background like he did.
Oh, she wants to do a background.
Oh,
I can do it. I want
Okay,
to.
can she do a background real fast? Holland, do it fast. Holland, Camaro or Mustang?
Mommy, I can't. Oh, here.
Okay, hold on.
On the bottom.
Fast, because we're doing a podcast.
Okay.
Fast.
Great.
this is podcast gold.
Oh
There you go.
yeah.
Then go no background.
No backgrounds. We have to go with backgrounds.
Wait, Holland.
Man, you went from one coast to the other. That's fast.
I'm doing like a real work. This is what you guys. This is my work day. This is my life as a mom and a homeschooling parent. This is my life. Will knows it well.
Yeah.
The homeschooling thing, we don't have kids. Like we have 2 greyhounds, 4 cats, and she has me. More power to you. God bless you.
I'll tell you what, I have all the respect in the world. I always did, but more than ever for teachers, stay-at-home moms, parents who homeschool, stay-at-home dads, and housekeepers. It's a lot of work, and it's never ending. Like I've never done more laundry in my life. I'm like, we're just a family of 3. Like I can't imagine these bigger families. I feel like I'm always doing laundry every second of the day.
Laundry and dishes.
Laundry and dishes.
And now they want you to run your dishwasher every night now. Have you seen those commercials?
Gosh.
They don't have to tell me. We run it twice a day.
What?
Oh, we do it twice a day. I'm like every night. We do it twice a day too.
Your dishwasher?
Yes,
When you
we're
cook-
cooking
when
all
you-
the time.
Yeah, when
So
you
are
cook,
we, but still.
you cook 3 meals a day, or just say 2 meals a day for 4 people. I mean,
Dude, there are these things.
I'm not going and buying paper plates.
Yeah.
I like eating off of a real plate. I have
Yes.
a dishwasher. Run it.
I was about to introduce you to the joys of paper and styrofoam.
Nope.
No, like, I like real plates
No.
too, but I think we just cook with a lot of dishes and a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
spatulas and whatever. And I'm super like a clean freak where I don't want anything contaminated. And if I'm cooking with like raw meat and then what, so it's like everything is constantly going into the sink, and then it just seems like we're overflowing with dishes constantly, laundry. And anyway, you guys.
Yeah, I'm a cross between you two. When I moved in, everybody here used paper plates and plasticware, and it drove me crazy. I now probably spend as much on dishwasher detergent as I did plasticware, but and I cook like that. But since I've already ruined any credibility with you, see, my perfect kitchen always had 3 dishwashers in it. You had the breakfast dishwasher, the lunch dishwasher, and the dinner dishwasher.
There you go.
And you just took everything out, you loaded, and you ran it. Didn't matter if you used it or not. Every meal had its own dishwasher, and you might throw a 4th in for snacks.
So you could just like you don't need counters at that point or cabinets at that point.
Exactly.
You literally just pull out of one dishwasher, use it.
Your dishwasher is your
rotate.
cabinet.
You just rotate. Yeah.
Love it. And the way Will cooks, you're a serious chef over there.
I like cooking.
Me too.
What'd you cook tonight?
Oh, I didn't cook tonight. We rode go-karts till dark.
Sean's been live streaming his cooking
Tonight. Yeah. Normally I cook like really good stuff. Tonight we went here.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
We did too.
That's what we had was pizza.
It was
God,
not
yeah.
delivery. It was DiGiorno.
This was delivered from Atlanta. Jay went to school
Oh
in
my
Atlanta.
God.
And it's this place that sends you pizzas on ice.
What?
And they overnight these pizzas, and they are like to die for.
Okay, that's vehicular because they had to use vehicles to get the delivery from Atlanta to where you are.
Essential business.
Holy crap!
Hopefully she didn't buy 2 pizzas because they would have come in 2 boxes.
I think they were delivered a while ago, but
That's awesome.
but we froze them, and then we enjoyed one tonight after having some stone crab. It was an amazing, like, easy dinner, and we did not have a lot of dishes with that one, but it was
stone crab. You had
and a little
stone
1942 tequila.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Mm.
Sunday was when I cooked 10 Cornish hens.
That's what I was. Yes.
Yep, mac and
That's
cheese.
what I was talking about. You sent me the picture, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Mac and cheese with all the aged cheddar and Asiago and homemade smashed taters.
You went straight up.
Well, now we
up
really
awesome.
have to get to the announcement because what Will just talked about probably explains the reason.
Yeah.
Well, yes. He's going to be cooking for us a lot going
That's
forward,
perfect.
I hope.
That's what I was thinking is.
Yes.
So one of you go ahead and tell everybody why we were fortunate enough to get Courtney, and hopefully it means we can have her back a couple more times.
So when we decided to bring the show from California to the East Coast, the city that brings me closest to where I am now on this side of the country is Atlanta. It's just easy to get in and out of. And I, of course, I've been a big fan of Will's for many years. And I thought, like, oh, what a perfect opportunity if we could get him to be the lead designer and main character alongside me and the team on The Ride That Got Away season 2, and hopefully going forward from there. And so I gave Will a call, and I was just crossing my fingers that he would be interested. And it took a minute to get him on board.
Well, he had to check his podcast contract to see if it allowed him to do other things.
He's got a lot going on. He's building a lot of cars, and he's got, multiple SEMA projects constantly, and a lot of gigs around the country, and he's always, touring the car show circuit, and he's busy and he's in demand, and so I was wondering, are we going to be able to make this happen? And sure enough, we did. And so Will is the new designer and lead character on The Ride That Got Away, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it.
Whoop,
So,
whoop.
yay!
Yep, he'll be leaving the podcast world shortly. And
No.
I think
Oh.
Courtney's been fortunate enough. It is her show, and according to Will, he's going to continue to be able to still do this.
Well,
And
For sure.
I'll let everybody know one of the huge deciding factors for me was when somebody like Courtney gives you a call and she's telling me all about the show, which I knew a little bit about it. It's her show. It's not some production companies. It's not somebody you've never heard of. It's Courtney Hansen's show. Okay,
No.
she works her. She's the hardest working girl in the industry. I mean, she funded season 1. She done it all herself, and you know it's going to happen. And it's just one of those. We've turned down multiple shows, but when Courtney called and told me how it was all going to work, I'm like, this is my opportunity. And
we've definitely learned a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes just through Will, Courtney, and knowing how, or not knowing everything, obviously, about how season 1 came together, but we have gotten a little bit of insight into how it came together, and knowing what you have jumped through in order to make it happen. That had to be a deciding factor for you, Will, knowing the dedication that she put into this project.
Without
and
a
knowing
doubt.
you don't do that unless you're 100% all in, unbelievably passionate about something. And it's really cool to see, man.
I give Courtney a hard time. I call her the modern day Linda Vaughn.
No.
And I mean, that's who you are. And if you mention the car hobby and you mention a female, it's the first person that pops in your head. If you're our age, it's Courtney. If you're my dad's age, it's Linda Vaughn.
Yeah, I never put that together, but she definitely fills that role.
Right.
Maybe.
And it's kind of funny. Courtney knows this better than I do, but because her and Linda are friends. For some reason, Linda Vaughn loves my dad, and I didn't even knew they met.
She told me, she's like, I love his daddy. Check this out, you guys. As you're talking about that, look what I have right here.
Nice.
Look at that.
Nice.
There you
I
go.
think I met her at SEMA like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Briefly.
She still goes.
Yeah.
She's
Crazy.
Look at that.
And then there's let's see, where's my page? We've got a whole page in here together.
So do we need to get you a Hearstall?
Look at
Oh,
that.
I love her soul. But she's a legend, and she's a very dear friend. She's like family to me, and we used to tour around and do appearances for
We lost your video.
oh here I'm back.
There
It
you
was just there was something. We used to do appearances across the country and Canada for GM, and so we just became dear friends, and we check in regularly every week, and she's just awesome, and she's a huge inspiration as well. And
she's
I'm happy
nonstop. She's absolutely not, like, if she could bottle some of her energy and drive,
yes,
that's $1 trillion industry right there. Like
totally.
She's got to be an inspiration to
She's
absolutely
remarkable.
millions of people.
And her like one of her greatest gifts is that she remembers everyone's name. And so I think that's so cool that she'll remember like everybody's name when they're coming up to say hello to her at car shows. Like,
wow,
that's an art form right there. That's a gift.
That is a gift. That's you can't learn that.
I call it I called it the Chip Foose gift. I'm going to change and call it the Linda Vaughn gift. Because Linda had it before Chip.
Right? And talk about another one who we're inspired by, who means the world to me and is just such an extraordinary guy.
I watched that show religiously, absolutely religiously. Like, I watched it to the point where I was like, I'm not worthy of having any car on that show, but I really want one on that show so bad. Like, I kept going because I have this stupid car that no one cares about, and I'm like, okay, it's so rare. Maybe they'll care enough about it to do something with it. It's not an '84 Isuzu, but you know.
Well. Yeah, and Will, what you were saying is true. There were a lot of there were serious challenges along the way, and we made it through, and now we are on the other side of it. And I'm so excited to take the best elements, like everything that worked, and make it even better, and everything that didn't work so great, leave it aside, and just knock it out of the park with season 2. And I can't wait. I'm so honored you're on board.
Well, me too. It's a killer setting where it's going to be done at, and yeah, it's going to be a fun ride, and
we can't wait to be able to talk more about how it's coming together. Like we literally like are just so proud to be sitting here right now.
Well, you just gonna have to wait there, big boy.
I know.
If you would have asked me 22 years ago when I met Will and him and his,
oh, here we go.
His air ride Blazer the first year, which then became an air ride Impala, and being that, college student that, only went to McPherson because it was a college and his dad wanted him to go to college, but he could learn hot rods or learn how to pretend to work on hot rods. Perfect. But no, it's kind of interesting. I would have never put Will, to get to where he was, 5-10 years ago, would have never pictured, a grade 8 contender, his legendary dart and some of the stuff he builds. I've been proud for years to say he's a friend, and, it's one of the reasons I asked him to be on the podcast is because he's known and he's an up-and-comer, I've always felt, in his industry. And obviously I called that right 3 years ago because you came calling 3 years later. So
yeah, well, he is on his way to the highest places. And well, I'm just so excited that you're part of the team. And we have a really cool team, a very diverse team of guys. And we will bring on another woman as well. Like we don't discriminate there either. But so far we have an amazing lineup of guys from all over the country, actually, and everyone has a different specialty and look.
I don't know if you can say, you're more than welcome to introduce anybody you want or talk about who's supporting you if you have, sponsors, or if it's feel free to talk about whatever you want. We spent the first half learning about Courtney. Now let's learn about the show and, figure out when hopefully we'll be able to tune in. I know the dates don't exist yet because of what we're going through, but
we're hoping that by the fall we'll be airing in the fall. That's the goal, and we hope that we can get back to work soon here, like end of May or early June. And as far as the team, we've got just an awesome cast of people, actually on both sides of the camera. The cast and crew are amazing. And then our sponsors are Haggerty and Castrol and Continental Tire and Optima and Kicker and MagnaFlow. And we just could not be more excited about our lineup of companies that are supporting us and what we're doing. And we're making dreams come true for deserving people. Those who don't know the show, we are hunting down the dream ride, the car truck that got away from a deserving person. They had to sell it when they came on hard times in life. And they get back to society, veterans, people who get back to their communities, people who have been selfless and have just really been challenged by life and had to let go of their dream ride. We're either finding that exact car or the same year, make, and model, and we make it into the work of art that they always imagined having. And then we give it to them in a complete surprise reveal. And so it's very special and super emotional. And it's also funny. It's a lot of fun. And you can catch season 1 on Amazon Prime. And again, we're going to make season 2 even better. And the stories are so they're heartwarming and beautiful. And so we look forward to bringing that to you very soon, hopefully by the fall.
Go ahead before you watch season 1. And just go ahead and get you a box of Kleenexes and put them next to you, because I'm telling you, they'll jerk a tear out of you. Just pretty much every one of them will jerk a tear out of you.
Totally.
And this is totally why I said I just didn't feel like I was worthy enough to get. It's. I mean, the situations the situations are definitely they're. It's heartbreaking and heartwarming all at the same time.
Yeah, think of all the cars that. Think of all the cars that got lost in Katrina and, I mean.
Or fires and or earthquake, like all of it. People lost their cars in horrible situations. People had cars stolen, and then they had to sell cars to put a roof over their families' heads. And so each one is different. Each story is completely unique. Each car is completely different, and the people are all really special. And it's beautiful. So I'm honored to do it, and I'm so excited about our team, and we can't wait to bring you new episodes, hopefully starting in October 2020.
Awesome. We can't wait to see it. And you get to take all of those up and coming companies and introduce them to I'm just kidding. The sponsor list is unbelievable. And to have those folks on your side, I mean, that speaks volumes to yourself, obviously, for being able to go out and put that together. But it also speaks, I think, to the quality of what we are going to see coming out of this show. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Those folks.
And through Haggerty's Drive Share program, we are going to be driving a lot of different vehicles, like classic cars, sports cars, late model trucks, all of it through Haggerty's Drive Share program. So you're going to get to see a lot of cool vehicles throughout the series as well. And just every element is going to be captivating, eye candy for us gearheads, but it's not even just gearheads. Like this is a show for the whole family, and it transcends automotive, and it's going to be killer.
Can y'all believe that? I'm on a family show.
I mean,
well, we do say our show's kid friendly.
Stranger things happen, Will. Stranger things happen.
Stranger things have happened. And Will, your family's gonna come and hang with us?
Absolutely.
Bring the dogs.
With my wife, a stay-at-home mom now. On the the days that we're on set, if they're long weekends, they'll come over and hang out with Courtney and Holland. I know Jay's a super busy dude, so I'm sure he may be coming in some. And but yeah, it's going to be a very family-friendly show, family-friendly set. I'm just stoked beyond words to be a part of it, and Courtney to ask me to have a role in it. And not
you almost said no, didn't you? Almost say no.
It was.
He told me about it, and it took him probably Courtney probably knows 2 months to sign the contract and get it back. And I think he told me about it the day he got the offer. But
yeah, it was a lot to consider. I mean, because it basically puts me working 7 days a week, hardcore 7 days a week.
But you know what, Will? It's so worth it. And then once the season's over, you'll be like, you can take a deep breath, and then you'll be really excited to get back to it for season 3.
Well, and that's the way I feel about it too. I generally work 7 days a week anyway. I mean, I'm either at the shop working, I'm at home working, or that's it. Most of the time I'm at the shop, especially now since Tammy stays at home. She pretty well takes care of everything, but vacuuming out the pool, I still have to do that. But, that's fine. And
you do the fancy cooking too.
Yeah, which I enjoy that, so.
The 7 day a week thing, though, is easy to do when you love what you do. And I don't think there's anyone in any of these windows on this podcast right now that don't absolutely love what we do. We get to
100%.
literally, we're parts of industries that we wouldn't trade for anything. And that's
so true.
We're pretty fortunate to get to do what we do.
I've got a crew at the shop right now that's just unbelievable. The best crew I've ever had. And I feel comfortable if I do have to leave and go to Atlanta for a few days. I don't feel, I feel very comfortable with that. My dad, Lucky, is still in really good shape for his age, and can pop in and out of the shop when he needs to. So it was almost like the time, and when I really dissected everything, it was like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right now.
It's going to happen.
And what better person to ask you to do it with than Courtney? So.
Oh, Will, I'm so excited. And I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think you're going to be happy that you signed on to do it, and we're going to have a blast. And we're making dreams come true for the kindest people who really deserve it. So It's
Made
special.
you an offer you can't refuse.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah.
And then we got held up a little bit. We got
Oh
held
yeah,
up.
this freaking virus crap.
Didn't we all?
but Whatever.
Didn't we all?
And meeting the guys that we're going to be working beside, they're all cool, legit dudes.
They're such good dudes. We're really blessed to have this team and all the people that sign on. And Will, you pretty much know all of them, right? They're all coming through you for the most part.
Well, yeah, a lot of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess all of them now, right?
See, that's how enjoyable the job is. Will doesn't even realize he's working.
Well, because I said to Will, I'm like,
But-
we could do castings and all that, but why don't we bring on people who you know and respect, who you've maybe worked with, and a couple of them are new, but many of them you've known and worked with before. And
one of them actually has a grade 8 from Detroit under his belt too. So, I mean, we're talking legit people. And
Totally.
actually, we could use one more, couldn't we, Courtney? Maybe a
Oh,
female
yeah,
on
yes,
the build
yes.
team, or
yes, we need another one. So we
Yep.
need someone with we've got all these Southern gentlemen, so we've got all these white dudes. So we might need to mix it up a little bit. We need to
How about a really funny woman who's been in the automotive repair industry for 20 plus years?
Sure, yeah, yeah.
She would kill it. She definitely would.
Yeah. And also, we like maybe somebody, I don't know, just not another white dude from the South.
right.
We cannot
need-
discriminate.
On set.
British. She's British. She can't get any more not from here.
Nice. I can't wait to meet her. I hope to meet her.
Can't wait for you to meet her. She'll
You guys need to
absolutely
come and
love it.
visit.
Yeah.
Come and hang with us. Help us with the car.
I've already warned Will.
We're on the way.
I'll head that way. So.
We're on the way. I have to ask a question before we wrap this up, and I try to ask this of everyone that we have on the show that when I'm around. You mentioned the 57 T-Bird. What's currently in your garage that you absolutely love?
A
Like,
70 Z28 that we're gonna trick out. We're gonna have some fun with it. Will's probably gonna help me out with that when there's a little time. And then we need a baby friendly car, so I have a supercharged. It had to be supercharged Range Rover Sport. And I have a 70 Mach 1 that I got from DJ Funkmaster Flex, and I'm excited to at some point trick that one out. The T-Bird is going to stay original. I just love that baby. Adam Kroll is right. I'm not going to paint it. I'm just going to keep her the way she is. She's perfect.
That is amazing.
I might soup it up a little under the hood, but outside of that, but this is a cruising car, right? So it's perfect. And then I have an Aston Martin DB9, late model sports car.
Yeah.
Had to do it. And that is it. Right now we have an old Jaguar that Jay has. And then I really needed to add a Mopar to the mix.
I literally asked for one, and you're like, it was like, I love them all. That's awesome.
I'm a lover of cars, but so I have my eye on a 68 Charger and a 69 GTX.
Oh my God.
So those are one of those would make me really happy because I have to round out and then I love the 67 GTO convertible as well.
Holy crap.
We're gonna make the Camaro the baddest one of them all, though.
Oh, I would love it.
Pro
And
Tour.
that would be a gift for Jay.
Yeah.
Pro Tour.
Well. So I can't say nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you later, Sean.
Okay. I mean, I know that she threw out no more Southern guys on the show, but how about a Southern guy that's really good at melting tires? It's
Ooh.
better than average at throwing.
We've got one of those already. I can do a burnout as good as
No. I'm talking about like properly G-loading in corners and melting.
We
tires.
don't need that.
Oh, come on.
We've got Courtney's dad. Hey, sit down.
Definitely drive down from Maryland.
Come on.
Sit down. You
Yeah.
just play on your simulator.
How dare you?
We're gonna have so much fun in that parking lot. We're gonna have so much fun.
Well,
That's
remember, Will tuned cars at the Corvette Museum in their parking lot. So
I did.
What? You did?
Yeah. Real quick story. I can't believe I hadn't told you this. So we're going to LS Fest, and we built the Rocket autocross Camaro, and we literally finished it like 2 hours before we went to the dyno shop. I scheduled the dyno on our way to LS Fest. So finished the car. Well, it wasn't finished yet because the windshield wasn't in it. So we go and tune it, on the dyno, get it ready, stop by a buddy of mine's shop, unload it out of the trailer, put the windshield in it, hang out with them for a little bit. And then Derek, our other host on the podcast, works at the Corvette Museum and actually helps run it. He don't just work there. And so he's like, hey, yeah, you use the truck lot. Because I was like, dude, we got to shake this car down. We literally, we hadn't even drove it other than on the dyno. So we get there and he's like, use the truck lot. So we're out there at 2:00 in the morning just beating the guts out of this car. We just finished tuning the suspension, adjusting brakes. I mean, and we went out there and ran for the grand championship at LS Fest. So done really, really well for a car fresh off the jacks.
For a car that was put together or finished the day before.
Right.
How fun.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
What a blast that must have been.
So, yeah, it was fun. So
Let me ask one more question, and then we'll go ahead and close up because we're right at that hour mark.
And all of our glasses are just about empty.
And you don't have to answer because this might be a storyline.
Uh-oh.
What's the one that got away for you, Courtney?
IROC Z28 Camaro.
What year?
It was 90.
Okay.
I mean, that's the one that got, like, most of the cars that, like, they're either still in my life or they weren't cool enough to have been the one that got away. But I feel like that would be a fun one to trick out and see at some point. I'll probably buy it back and or buy one back and then have some fun with it. That's mine.
What color?
I guess
Was it black
white.
and gold? White. Okay.
It was
The
white.
black and gold IROCs. I don't know what it was about the black and gold IROCs.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
the blue.
The
But
blue,
we
the
were-
dark blue.
The blue.
Yeah, my dad had a dark blue 84 high output Trans Am 5-speed, and it had that offset scoop on the hood, the offset ram air that it leaked water.
305 high output.
Yeah, yeah.
About like saying fast Mustang.
Oh, the Volvo wagon that he got after the Firebird was faster than the Firebird. The Trans Am looked amazing. Yeah.
Those are
Oh,
fun
Lord.
cars. My car was fast, and I got in trouble with it. I had fun with it. And
The
it was a
F-body's
convertible.
amazing. Yeah, we have an
Like-
84 Z28 race car right now that is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just shockingly good. It is literally like, there's nothing special about it. It's just like, it's 84 Z28 Corvette brakes,
Ooh.
crappy little tires, like the old C4 Corvette brakes on it. Like, and you look at it and you're like, it shouldn't be that quick. And then you take it to somewhere like Road Atlanta and you're like laying down stupidly fast lap times,
Yeah.
and people are looking at you like, what? I don't know. The chassis
The
is just, it punches so
driver.
far. No, the chassis is that good. I mean, it punches so far above its weight. I totally understand your love of the
I loved
F-body.
it.
It's a cool
Wait,
car.
Will, we need to know your ride that got away.
Yeah. So
84
when-
is Suzu Pop.
I've been to. You've been to Will's shop. It's out back. I don't think anything's ever got away from Will.
No, there's one. There is one. When I was 14 years old. All right, so when I was 14, I was in the shop all the time with my dad. And he goes, "Hey, I'm going to give you that 57 Chevrolet two-door 210 post out there." And my response was, "I don't want that. I want a pickup truck." So guess what Dad sold? The 57 210.
Oh.
Did he at
So
least get you like a C10 short bed or something?
I did get a 40 Ford pickup truck. So,
Okay. Well, you know.
I mean, But that car, I should have said, yeah, I'll take that.
Oh,
you know.
your dad is your parents are the sweetest people.
Yeah.
They're so amazing. That's a cool.
Yeah,
That's a cool story.
They're good.
Do you still have the Ford
folks.
pickup?
I do, and I actually still have my very first vehicle that was my own. It's a '84 two-wheel drive K5 Blazer, so square body Blazer. So my daily driver now is a '96 two-door two-wheel drive Tahoe.
So you need to drive these cars on the show too. You need to bring him to Georgia.
My '44 truck I've never built. I still have it, but I haven't built it, and I've got to build my Blazer back. It's just, it's the way it was when I had it in high school. It's just kind of rough. Motors pulled out of it.
Courtney, I think we're talking about a season 3 or 4 plot.
Yes.
Well, I've got a '68 Cadillac in my shop that I need to put the motor in and drive it, and I've got a '91 Camaro that might could work out a trade with Miss Courtney on here.
Yeah, you're a Chevy guy. You're a Chevy guy, Will, right?
Well, I wouldn't say I lean
Just
Chevy
say yes.
more than anything, but no, I mean I like Fords. Here's the thing, I like all cars, but I'm a Dodge motor and a Dodge guy, a Ford motor and a Ford guy, and a Chevy motor and a Chevy guy.
I agree.
When we built, my dad and I built the '65 Ford truck. It had a 460 and a 5-speed. I mean, that's just how I am, and I'm pro Ford from 27 to 48, and then from 49 to 60 or 73 or 4, I'm more of a Chevy. That's just what I personally like and think looks good. So,
but on the show we're doing a little bit of everything, and
right,
we're mixing it up.
I'm excited to work on everything, and you can tell. You can go look and see what Big Oak Garage has built. We've built them all. We built Ford, Chevys, Mopars. Even done some work on some 280Zs, stuff like that. So it doesn't matter to me.
Will's
Cool.
even owned an Eclipse in his life, so it's.
I have.
I don't
I
believe
have.
it.
That's a cool car.
It was a turbo Eclipse.
Was it
and
the
was fast as
GSX?
hell.
The GSX all-wheel drive?
TSI.
TSI. Yeah. This thing's crazy.
I outrun a lot of Ford Mustangs in that thing.
They don't see you coming.
Yeah.
We didn't see you coming because I was a Ford Mustang guy when those things came out. I was a Fox body notchback freak back in the day.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Dude, you can't beat those cars. You can't beat those.
Those
They were
are
like
good.
working.
Those are cool cars.
They were literally like working on lawnmowers. They were so easy to work on, and they were so easy to find parts for. That's really what turned me on to them.
I wouldn't mind doing a really cool Fox body.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think those are so cool.
Notchback.
Oh.
Notchback.
I had to have a little sip.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide that. You literally just bring it on camera and just go. Matter of fact, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Little vino to end the night.
Word.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for spending time with us and giving us the privilege of, I guess, kind of making the announcement for you.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't be more excited about it, and we'll have more news to come and more details about when it's all happening. Hopefully, ASAP. And
now, hopefully, this gets behind us pretty quickly, and life can move on for everybody. And it's got to be driving you crazy because the unknown.
But we're almost through it. So
yep, we are. So
you guys, thank you.
I'm going to close it out, guys, and just kind of say good night and goodbye.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks for coming on, Courtney.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.